We have arrived in Mpumalanga to kickstart the process of the celebration of the ANC.
An in-depth discussion on the 112th birthday of the African National Congress, and for that we are joined by political analyst Professor Ntsikelelo. Prof, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I think there's so much to talk about, certainly as we watch the ANC celebrate its birthday and then get ready for the statement that will of course be delivered on the weekend. But can we talk a little bit about your view of the significance of the 8th of January for the ANC? Just how much of a role this day actually plays in setting the tone for what the party does moving forward in that particular year?
Thank you very much for having me, Naledi, and the compliments of the season. So regardless of the historicity or the historical development of the statement, I think you've set the scene.
Sure.
Regarding that. But in terms of the contemporary politics of the ANC, the statement is meant to articulate the thinking of the ANC in terms of what lies ahead. I think in our context, because we are in the build-up to the upcoming general elections, it will be a feeder system to the manifesto of the party. The party is going to launch its a manifesto soon. Over and above that, it will also feed into the State of the Nation address. As you know, the ANC, they normally say that the ANC leads and the ANC lives. But also the statement is not just a speech that is made by the president, but it is a speech or a statement that is made on behalf of the NEC. So I think it will be twofold. On the one hand, it will focus on domestic issues, in particular issues of poverty, unemployment, inequality. I think will feature there prominently. Why? Because those are the major security threats. The issue of power outage, the slow pace of service delivery. So those are pertinent issues. But also, I mean, you pointed out earlier on that we have approached the ICC in Holland, Hague, regarding the genocide that is happening in Gaza, Palestine. So what I'm saying is that there will be an articulation on our foreign policy, regarding what is happening on the continent, and also on a global scale. So I think it will be packaged along those lines.
Yeah, I wanted to get your views on where the ANC sits, though, and how it's handling its internal issues and certainly its image to South Africans as it gets closer and closer to those elections. What that message then should sound like in the January 8th statement. But in the package we just played there, you heard the Secretary General of the party talking about this renewal agenda within the African National Congress. I mean, how are they faring in really starting to not just talk about the renewal agenda, but execute the renewal that they've been talking about for the past few years?
My reading of the situation is that unfortunately they've fallen short on that score. I mean, the conception of renewal is all well and good in theory, but in practice, I think it leaves much to be desired. For instance, I mean, if you look at the step-aside principle, which was at the heart of the renewal of the ANC in terms of addressing the issue of corruption, it has not been applied in a way that is fair and square, but it has been applied to patch or to sideline some people who are posing a threat to the dominant faction. So it has been implemented to entrench hegemony, because there have been other people who have been implicated in the Zondo Commission, who are aligned to the president, but they've been politically protected. I'm not going to name names. So that undermines the renewal process. In fact, it gives a person like Umsholozi an ammunition or something to talk about in terms of some of the gaps of the leadership of the ANC. So those are some. I mean, for instance, the other issue that is extremely important in this context is the fact that the Zondo Commission's findings are still gathering dust. They've not been implemented. That gives credence to the argument that the ANC doesn't take the fight against corruption seriously. Again, that speaks to the issue of a renewal.
Yeah, there's a
that
clip
the ANC has not done what it should have done.
Yeah, perhaps you can comment on this. Certainly a clip that's making the rounds even on social media of the Secretary General of the party speaking to the media, speaking on the former President Jacob Zuma, touching on, an ad hoc committee was established to look into the issue of Nkandla, of course, the home of the former president, going as far as to say, well, we came out and decided that we would name a swimming pool a fire pool. I mean, what's the image that sets? What's the message that sends to the electorate?
Yeah, I think that was very unfortunate. I was listening to that speech of his yesterday. I don't think that he should have said that. I know that he made that statement jokingly, but he needs to stop being casual when he speaks I mean, he is the SG of the ANC, he's also the image of the party. I know people say it's the president that is the embodiment of the party, but he's also the image of the party. So when pitching messages to the audience, you've got to come across to be serious. I mean, you cannot crack a joke about that. So basically what he was saying is that the ANC lied to the country, which is quite unfortunate because they defended Msholozi at the expense of the country. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure that senior leaders of the ANC might take a swipe at him in private for saying that in public, but they should have never said that in the first place.
Right, let's get back to the January 8th statement, because that's at the heart of our discussion this morning. Is there some significance that you think you see in the party choosing to hold the January 8th statement in Mpumalanga, and I'm wondering if there's any sort of parallels that one might easily draw between having seen former President Jacob Zuma then hold a rally for the newly formed Mkhonto weSizwe party in Mpumalanga. Is there significance, or is there significance about that particular province?
So normally the leadership of the ANC, they are the ones who pick and choose where the rally will be held in terms of where the statement will be read. So now they've chosen Mpumalanga. But now Msholozi is also trying to put up a good fight, because, for instance, over the weekend, when the ANC held its meetings, he was also holding his own meeting there, addressing his own constituency. And interestingly, the turnout was very high. So now you can see that Msholozi is putting up a good fight, but also he's trying to say that his party, Mkhonto weSizwe, is not only embedded in KZN. It is not limited to KZN, but it transcends beyond that. I think that's the symbolism of that. But interestingly, again, Msholozi, look, I mean, we can say whatever we want to say about him. He is strategic. He can think strategically.
But is he a threat, Dr. Prof? I think that's the key question.
Yes,
and you talk about the turnout.
Yes.
Is he a threat to the African National Congress?
He does pose a serious threat, not just a threat. He does pose danger. He does pose a threat to the... Because, for example, look at his strategic maneuver now. He has joined forces with religious leaders of Triple AM. That is significant, because it means that the message that will be packaged and pitched by his party will transcend beyond KZN. He's well aware that, I know we say that South Africa is a secular state, which is debatable in my opinion. I mean, how do you say that South Africa is a secular state? But according to Stats SA, 80% of the people of this country, they've got religious denominations that they belong to. So the majority of people of this country are religious. Now, if you join forces with religious leaders, it means that you're going to tap into that space in terms of articulating your views. So he's going to reach out to a substantial number of people because of his partnership with a religious leader. Again, that poses a threat to the ANC in terms of its electoral performance.
I'm just jumping in there, Prof, because in the interest of time, and we've had quite a long discussion, so I need to move towards wrapping it up. But in light of what you call a threat then to the African National Congress going into 2024 and the general elections, what's the message that the ANC then gives us on the when they deliver the January 8th statement?
I'm not trying to sound like a prophet of doom, but from my standpoint, I think the damage is done and what is done cannot be undone. I don't think that the statement will influence the political behavior of the electorate to vote in a particular way. I think people have made up their minds who they're going to vote for. I mean, the ANC has had, a chance to fix its problem. When they got 57% in 2019, they should have realized that they might lose power, and they have not done the way they should have in the last 5 years or 4 years. So it's really unfortunate.
112 years is a very long lifespan for an organization. This is a tough one, and I know almost a sentimental and emotive question, but I'm curious nonetheless that the founders of the African National Congress 112 years ago, were they standing here? What do you think their view would be?
Naledi, the romanticism of the past, the glorification of history, the preservation of a tradition, those are things of the past. The point I'm making is that the ANC, it mustn't think that it is going to use collective memory to reach out to the rank and file of this country, or it will use collective memory to untwist the voters. That strategy is not going to work now. Unfortunately, I think people, they've had enough. That's why some people, they refer to these upcoming general elections as a 1994 of this country, because they want to vote in a way that will make a change for the better.
Yeah. All right, let's leave it there, Prof. We really, really do appreciate your time. And of course, we'll keep checking in with other political analysts as we watch the ANC as it celebrates its 112th birthday. That day, Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast, political analyst, joining us there via Teams.